Welcome to the Backlot 605 podcast. This is episode number 53. We are over a year old now, Brian.
Technically, this would be our 1 year.
Technically, we don't deal with technicalities
because
here.
It's the first one of the new... Whatever.
We are in season 2. Let's just call it that. We're in season 2.
We are season 2?
Yep, we are in season 2. Only going to get better, I hope.
Yum.
We're not going to be the heroes of podcasts.
No. We'd like to be.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Like the TV show heroes.
Oh.
Good for one season, the rest you can ignore. We're not going to be like that.
I blame the writer's strike for that one.
Yeah, that's... we should do a heroes show. That'd be fun. I love that show.
But that's a show, not a movie.
We'll do shows. We can do both.
We can do whatever. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Because you know what? This week we're going to be talking about some TV shows.
Nice segue.
Segues, yes. This week, this weekend, upcoming weekend, Charlie's Angels, the reboot, the second adaptation of the television series is coming out.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to see this.
Really?
Yes, I kind of do.
In a non-guilty pleasure way, or
I don't know yet. I will give the fact that they're overselling the idea of that Elizabeth Banks is a part of this. Like, her fucking name is everywhere.
You look at that poster, her name is on it like 3 or 4 times.
Well, I mean, yes, I get because she's in it. She's writing and directing it. So I get why her name is on there 3 times. But, like, even some of the memes that I saw where there was even one where, like, every instance where there was a name that was replaced with Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah. I don't think this movie looks very good.
Oh, I didn't say it was
I think it looks... Yeah,
I didn't say it was going to do...
skipping it.
I don't know if it's going to do well. It's just one of those ones where it's like... maybe? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, she's never done an action movie. So maybe there's something there. I don't know. Who knows?
Don't know. And I'm seeing snow out your window and it's pissing me off.
No, we don't need snow here in South Dakota. We don't need it.
No!
Well, yeah, we're going to be talking about TV shows adapted into movies. Charlie's Angels is one of them, so yeah, we'll be talking about that later in the show. But let's start it off with the box office.
News.
Number 1 this week. Surprisingly, at least to me, Midway comes in at number 1, $17.5 million.
That's because I'm looking at this and going, that's kind of a bad weekend. What the shit?
Yeah, this Roland Emmerich directed film, he's still a thing. Why is he still making movies in 2019? Yeah. Go ahead. What?
Independence Day guy, right? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said his name. I was like, wait, hold on. Wait, back that up a second. I mean, it looks...
Roland Emmerich.
It looks decent. It has a pretty solid cast.
Yeah. Sure. I think it looks terrible.
I don't know.
It looks like
it
looks like Roland Emmerich's version of Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor. Not a war movie. Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor. That's what it looks like, an adaptation of that. It does. It has. I love Patrick Wilson. Woody Harrelson he's Woody Harrelson.
Mm-hmm. It has a Jonas in there.
It has a Jonas, the one acting.
Right.
He's all over every marketing except like he's not a main in the movie, which I think is just complete pandering to people who like the Jonas Brothers.
Or at least him in general, but yes.
This one's surprising. Number 1, I mean, PG-13 movie. Look at that run. That runtime is just haunting me right now. I don't want to sit through that for 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Hey, you know what? Well, I mean, it did take first, so maybe there's something there.
I don't know.
Considering where it took first place of the number 2 spot.
Yeah, I want to grab the Rotten Tomatoes for Midway quick.
Midway? Come on.
41%.
Wow.
91% audience.
Well, so what's that? You know, that's who's buying the ticket.
Who's buying the ticket? I guess that's that Independence Day crowd still hanging around. Yeah, as Brian mentioned, number 2 this week, Dr. Sleep, disappointing $14 million opening.
That's kind of scary for me, and I don't mean in the spooky Stephen King kind of way. I'm afraid this is going to be a box office bomb kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I know what it is. Came out 2 weeks too late.
It should have come around.
Should have came out Halloween weekend. Yes, it shouldn't have been the second weekend in November. Should have came out this past October.
I still don't know if it would have done any good though.
I don't know. This is real. Look at I've been looking up some of the other Stephen King adaptations, taking it out of it because it is just a monster in itself. No pun intended.
And maybe they were trying to push it out far enough that it wasn't so close to it, since that was in September.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Dark Tower's numbers. Opening weekend pulled in $19 million.
And that one's considered a bomb too.
And that one's not good either, from what I've heard. And then the surprise here, Pet Sematary, which just came out earlier this year, $24 million in its opening weekend. Is it just the fact that it's not called The Shining 2?
I don't know.
You know, I've talked to some people and I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to go watch Dr. Sleep. And they're like, what superhero is that? Seriously, I've had that happen.
In this day and age, that is a very justified statement, I guess, or question.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's a sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, one of the greatest movies ever made, and I think it's the fact that it is called Doctor Sleep. It's not called The Shining 2.
But at the same time, too, I mean, those who know Stephen King and know the books and whatnot know that's what it's called, so that's what you're going to name the movie.
Yeah, I'm glad they named it that. I think this movie will eventually catch steam, at least
in home video.
Become a cult movie. I mean, The Shining was a critical failure when it came out. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just one of those things that it's just not going to find an audience right away. And
maybe I'm glad I haven't bought The Shining yet, because then that way I'll just get the 2-pack when this comes out.
You definitely will get that at Walmart coming soon. And I think it's also a Mike Flanagan thing. His movies don't make money at the box office.
They wait until home video?
They wait till home video. They find that niche audience that he has. And now, I mean, you look at his last couple movies, Ouija Origin of Evil didn't make very much money at the box office. That didn't help.
It was also a sequel to a board game movie.
To a really bad movie. And then his last Stephen King adaptation, Gerald's Game, went straight to Netflix. That was a Netflix movie. Got an audience there, but still wasn't released in theaters. So I just think it's a thing. Audiences aren't going to rush out to see this guy right now, which sucks because I think he's one of the best directors in the game right now, especially in the horror genre. But if you look at the best in the game ever, Carpenter didn't make money off his movies. Craven didn't make a whole lot of money.
Well, Scream did.
Scream was its own thing. There was nothing else like it in the 90s, and yeah, I think it's just a disappointing opening weekend for this movie. We'll see how it does in the next upcoming weeks. Number 3, the John Cena led Playing with Fire, $12.8 million.
How do you like the fact that within a little less than $1.5 million that Dr. Sleep almost got beat out by John Cena and Keegan-Michael Key?
I watched a review on this movie, Playing with Fire.
I don't care. I still want to see it.
After watching it, I kind of want to, but like get drunk and watch it because
from what I've heard, it's a kids movie.
Yeah, it's sort of from what I've heard.
Well, it's probably knowing those two. It's a kids movie with adult humor.
It's made by the guy who made Paul Blart Mall Cop.
I'm scared now.
2.
Oh, he didn't even make the first one.
He made the first one. He made the second one. Woof. Yeah, from what I've heard, it's rivaling The Fanatic for best worst movie of the year.
Oh, I don't want to hear that. Mainly because I like John Cena.
John Cena versus John Travolta at the Razzies this year. It's going to be a tough battle for worst actor.
John Travolta's got
it down, but Cena will be maybe nominated. Number 4 this week, Last Christmas, $11.6 million. I kind of wanted to see this movie.
Really?
Yeah. Rom-coms are...
does Kayla know that?
No. Because, well, one, she wants to see Dr. Sleep more, which I do too, but there's just a little guilty pleasure in me that I'm like, I kind of want to see this movie.
Is it Emilia Clarke?
It is Emilia Clarke. I think she looks adorable in this movie.
She doesn't look like she's going to go out psycho and throw a dragon at you?
She might, but she's wearing an elf outfit, so it would still be adorable.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I kind of want to see it.
It actually does look good.
It does, well, good as, I don't know if it looks good. It looks like...
Good as a Christmas movie can.
Good as going to see a Hallmark movie in the theaters.
Yes.
Yes. We don't get a lot of those anymore. I think that's kind of, the rom-com has kind of delved into either they're going straight to Netflix or Hallmark Channel, or they're the independent The Big Sick or Crazy Rich Asians.
Maybe
Like
because
critical hits.
Because how's it say?
There's no more How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
No, I mean look at Long Shot. That's considered a bomb.
Yeah, and I think
that had 2 solid people in it.
And I'm gonna look up the rating on this movie. I'm guessing PG-13. We'll see. It was directed by Paul Feig, so that's maybe PG-13. So this PG-13 rom-coms I just don't think are really around anymore because Long Shot was R-rated.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some of the more popular ones of the last decade, even like 40-Year-Old Virgin is R-rated. Like it's the Judd Apatow, Seth Rogen style of humor that's going into these rom-coms. So yeah, I at least like seeing it here in the top 5 yet. That maybe this genre that we give a ton of crap to, but we all have a little soft side in us that want to see more rom-coms.
You know, you're not wrong.
Don't lie to yourself, listener. You want to see more of these.
What I'm actually seeing here in the top 5 is something that we haven't seen in a long time, though. Is the top 4 are all new releases. You know, that hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah. I think
usually
people were like, I already saw Joker 3 times in the theaters. Time to go watch something else.
I did go see something else.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why Dr. Sleep bombed this weekend. There was a lot to go watch. There was 5 wide releases, 4 of them in the top 5 here.
Yeah, so I mean, if you really, bring those all together, that's a pretty decent weekend.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say is that I went to the number 5 movie finally. I went to go see Dark Fate.
Dark Fate. What did you think of Terminator Dark Fate? You were part of that $10.8 million it took.
I was part of that $10.8 million, and I'm completely okay with it. Now that I finished binging my Final Destinations, I want to go watch the one that I have not seen yet, and maybe even go just rewatch all my Terminator movies. But to go see Genesis that I never have yet. No, I actually enjoyed it. I liked the way that they spun it. They definitely spun the movie. Mister, I know that you're having refusal of going to go see this movie.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
But no, I'm just saying is that I think they did an interesting way to be able to spin the story to be able to potentially keep making these movies.
Yeah, this is one after I knew what happened in the movie.
In the beginning,
which it's what it is. This might be like a cheap seats movie. Like I do want to see because it's a Terminator movie. I want to go see it in the theater. I think that's the best way you're going to be able to watch it. But it might be at the cheap seats. I'm not going to go out to pay $12 or $10, whatever, for a ticket to go watch it. So yeah, that's and the Joker rounding off the top 6. I guess we should mention it because it's still making bank, $9.2 million.
I would like to say that the person, I'm getting his name right here right now, Gabriel Luna, the guy that plays Rev 9 or basically the current Terminator, I think he does a superb job. He definitely has a very much of the Robert Patrick feel from T2. So that I think is one of the things that they definitely had going from. They had a very strong adversary to go against.
Yeah, he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was Ghost Rider in that series. He's really good. Like, I wish there was a Ghost Rider series with him.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, I dropped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before Ghost Rider was introduced with his charger.
Just watch the Ghost Rider segments. I mean, and the rest of the series is fine. That's the best thing in it.
But otherwise, no, I think they all did a relatively good job of selling it for what it was. And, they weren't trying to... I mean, they were basically in the process retconning all of the stuff, which, again, your beginning that you dislike helps solidify the retcon.
Yeah, it's what we got to come up with a term for these movies.
What do you mean?
Like where they either ignore what happens or just don't mention what happens, and it's kind of trying to reboot the franchise while keeping the same continuity.
This one does. I mean, this one gives you in the first 10 minutes.
I'm looking at another one that pretty much does that. The Force Awakens. You can say Jurassic World does it. Mm-hmm. What do we call that? A reboot quill?
A reboot quill?
Yeah. Oh. Is that it? Because it's a sequel, also technically a reboot.
Oh my god! Now I'm going to have to come up with a term for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot because it's a prequel or it's a sequel, a reboot, and a remake all at the same time.
Remake boot quill.
A remake boot quill?
Yes.
Sounds French.
It is. Yeah, so that's going to be the box office for the week. Let's run to the news. Let's kick it off. We got some more Batman casting news. Andy Serkis is eyed to play Alfred, and Colin Farrell is eyed to play the Penguin in Matt Reeves' The Batman.
I dig it. Andy Serkis one's a little bit harder for me, but if we are going for a younger Batman, then having Serkis kind of at the age he is now seems like a very good fit. I wanted to see Colin Farrell in a Batman movie. He's one of the few shining things that was of Daredevil, but I think he needs a better superhero movie to be in.
He's the best part of Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
That's what I'm saying.
It's one of my favorite lines ever in that movie. More peanuts.
More peanuts.
Yeah, if it happens to end up being this is the casting, I'll be fine with it. I'm not in love with it though. I think Serkis doesn't. When I look at Serkis, I don't see Alfred. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would see the Penguin if I see Andy Serkis. And Colin Farrell, I like the traditional look and feel of the Penguin. A little bit more heavy set. You don't need to be Danny DeVito, Penguin, but you need to.
No, but they're not always. Not all the iterations of Penguin are the short, pudgy Danny DeVito type.
No, I like the short, pudgy.
But like
type.
for instance, like the gentleman, first name's Robin, and his name is escaping me. The guy from Gotham.
Yeah.
Plays a different version of the Penguin, and I like that, and I think that's probably, if they do get Colin Farrell, that's the way they're going.
No, I dig that. I think Colin Farrell's too good looking to play the Penguin, though.
No, that's just it. I think that's what they're playing on, honestly.
Is that he's good looking?
Is that he's gonna be the aristocrat villain. That he's gonna be able to pull off the nice suit, and but evil at the same time.
Yeah, if it happens, it happens. I don't know. I'm not in love with it.
I have faith in Matt Reeves.
I do. I think this is really he's the guy. I want to see a Matt Reeves Batman movie, and we're getting it. And the casting so far, I dig.
Yeah,
taking out the Jonah Hill and putting in Paul Dano instead.
Paul Dano is a great cast for that. And I'm sorry, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, I think, is a very interesting play, and I really I can't wait to see how that goes.
Part of my problem with the casting is it's kind of, I don't want to say too on the nose, but it's kind of like fan casting to me, where it might be trying to get the name for the part rather than the best actor for the part.
I don't know. So far, the names that have been thrown out there, I don't disagree with, because even when they threw Jonah Hill out there, whether it be the Talk of the Riddler or Talk of the Penguin, I think he could have easily pulled off either one of them. I think Jonah Hill has the chops for it between the comedic side of things and the dramatic side of things. So I am curious to see how this goes because, well, to be honest, Colin Farrell has the acting chops for the dramatic as well as the comedic. So,
well, yeah, I think Colin Farrell will be more of a fit for said Penguin than Jonah Hill would, or even Josh Gad.
I would be curious to see a Colin Farrell Riddler though.
Yeah, that's I was thinking of that
because
too, but I like Paul Dano in the Riddler because Riddler, you just want to punch him in the face, and Paul Dano has a punchable face.
Oh, be nice.
I am nice. He's a good actor, but he has a punchable face.
He does not have a punchable face.
He has Do you agree, if you're listening, does Paul Dano have a punchable face? Let's jump to our. We got a first look at Lee Winnell's The Invisible Man.
You had a first look.
Did you not watch the trailer, Brian?
No, I've heard mixed things about it and whatnot, but no, I kind of want. So far, for the sake of casting, who's directing it and whatnot, I really want to go in, no pun intended. I kind of want to go in a little blind and not know what's going on. But it seems from what I understand, Elizabeth Moss in the trailer is just outstanding.
Yeah, I've heard some things online, and people don't like her in the leading role or what have you. But I like her having this lead role where she's not your typical leading lady. She's not Scarlett Johansson or like the bombshell movie star type.
And she's a phenomenal actress.
But yeah, she is fantastic in this trailer. Yeah, it's a Lee Winnell written and directed film. You can definitely tell that within this 2.5 minute trailer. I think all his things that we saw in Upgrade are brought back. The stylistic choices that he had in that movie.
So he's beating people up?
Well, the way the camera moves and the way he sets up shots are the same. There's no invisible man like. Well, I don't want to spoil the movie.
There's no invisible RoboCop?
Yeah, there's no invisible Venom in this movie. Yeah, I think the movie looks great. I'm really excited for it. I was excited before I saw the trailer, but after seeing the trailer and seeing the way this movie's going to go, and you can already tell the ideas that they're going with and the social commentary that this movie's going to have, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense for a movie called The Invisible Man and this way to adapt it to when this movie comes out in 2020. It's only going to make sense for the times, and I'm really excited for it. I think Elizabeth Moss looks great. Having Oliver Jackson Cohen, who was in The Haunting of Hill House, as the Invisible Man is like great casting because he was fantastic in Hill House.
Because he doesn't have to be on the screen very much?
Well, he doesn't have to be, but I'm sure there's going to be flashbacks and set up with him in it. And yeah, I think it's going to end up being a great film and a sleeper hit for those. I don't think it's going to make any money at the box office. Honestly, it's coming out in February. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be R-rated, but yeah, I think it's going to fall into the same thing that Dr. Sleep fell into. No one's going to go watch it, but it's going to be a sleeper hit.
So I think it'll be pretty good. Here's hoping it'll be the reboot that Universal wants.
Yeah, third time's the fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Time is the charm.
Whatever time it is.
Yes.
It is hopefully the time.
Who would have thought putting, a passionate and inspiring director and writer behind a project could make a movie great? I don't know.
I know, right? It's
crazy. It's and not giving Tom Cruise all the control in the world of The Mummy.
It's almost like they gave the movie to a guy who helped build
a fan.
Well, that and he built an entire franchise with his friend. 2
franchises.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
With the same friend, Saw and Insidious. Yeah.
Well, and how much involvement did he have with The Conjuring? Other than just being in them.
I don't think he really had any. I'm sure he maybe had some writing inputs here and there for like.
But otherwise, it's just Saw and Insidious.
But he's not in the Conjuring movies.
Are you sure?
Yeah. He's in Insidious.
I know he's in Insidious.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he might have been on set for a couple of those, but besides being buddies with James Wan, I don't think he had really any input on the Conjuring verse. Next piece of news we got in the horror realm is that a new Scream movie is in the works. The rights have been purchased by the group at Spyglass. Yeah, there's not been anything confirmed whether this will be a reboot, remake, a reboot quill, whatever it is. And no confirmation that Kevin Williamson will or will not return.
Well, and obviously the director can't.
Yeah. What do you think of this?
I don't know yet. I would be curious as to see how they would, and I know you and I talked about it a little bit this before and whatnot about
we just talked about this not that long ago before the news was even announced.
Yeah, but about whether or not you would bring anybody back from the original set of movies, and honestly, I think you would be doing it ill justice if you didn't bring somebody back. Even in some sort of capacity or something like that to reprise their characters and whatnot. I don't know,
Yeah, I think if you do this, I mean, I don't know how you're going to do it because Scream 4 is technically about reboots and remakes and how they're never as good as the original, even though it's titled Scream 4 and it's technically part of the same continuity. It's about remakes and reboots. So if you go that aspect in a straight up reboot, it's like you're kind of treading the same water, unless you go full reboot where like David Arquette just has a cameo as the teacher at the school or something like that.
He plays like the oh my god, Fonzie's character.
Yeah, he plays the Fonz character.
He plays the Fonz.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know how I
But
feel
you know,
about
seeing
this.
that's where this particular movie franchise of the horror franchises that leans a little bit to its favor is it's very self-aware. It is very much a movie that puts all of that out on the table. Like, if you were going to do a reboot, a remake, a sequel, anything like that, to basically poke fun within the horror genre, this is the one you're going to do it with.
Yeah. My only problem is...
Look at Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's gonna... Well, Nightmare on Elm Street had, a bunch of different hands in it, and they're in mixed quality of the movies. I think what Scream has, as far as the best three in the series, is the thread of Wes Craven directing, Kevin Williamson writing.
Right.
So I think you're obviously not going to have Craven directing, unfortunately.
Well, unless you have Kevin Williamson on as writing.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think that could get me actually really excited for a Scream 5 or a Scream reboot is having Williamson pen the script.
And somebody who is a fan of the franchise as opposed to just doing it for the paycheck.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd want to direct a Scream. Let's say it's a Scream 5 Williamson written film. I don't know who I would want to direct the movie.
David Arquette.
to direct the movie. It's just a wrestling documentary at that point. I really don't know.
I'm on the fence until more comes out about this, whether or not it actually proceeds.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next upcoming months and years.
I will say this, and I didn't finish all of it or whatever, but I did watch the very first season that MTV did for the Scream thing that they did. Which obviously is not of any continuity whatsoever to the original movies and whatnot. And, for an MTV show, it was relatively decent.
It was a decent MTV slasher show.
Right,
it was not a Scream TV show.
Right.
Which I think was its downfall, is that it wasn't meta in the slightest.
Could you imagine if it was something on the lines like if it would have been picked up by like AMC or something like that, who's willing to push that envelope?
Yeah, I think if you're going to go with the reboot aspect, I think you have to go where these kids have seen Scream. Mm-hmm. And now maybe there's a copycat killer or something, and it's revealed that Matthew Lillard, the actor, is the killer this time. That's how I do it.
Maybe.
And Skeet Ulrich. That's the movie right there.
Oh my God, I would love to see Skeet Ulrich come back.
And it's just them as themselves. Go full meta that way.
Have them be the ones that get killed in the beginning?
No, that they're the killers.
Oh.
Like in the first Scream, except it's the actors themselves.
Oh my God.
Yes, go full meta. Do it. Next piece of news we got here. I'm more excited about this one than I am Scream, and that surprises me. Tremors, Island Fury, the 7th film in the Tremors franchise.
Oh, it has a name?
Yeah.
I just knew that they were talking about it.
Tremors, Island Fury. Yes, I love the title, for one. But we get some new casting news. Richard Brake, who has been in the last couple Rob Zombie movies, 3 from Hell and 31, and Napoleon Dynamite himself, John Heder, had joined Michael Gross for the 7th film in the franchise. Brian, how many of these have you watched?
2.
1 and 2?
I'm pretty sure just 1 and 2. Yeah. I've always wanted to be honest. I've always wanted to go through I'm still on the fence as to what makes Michael Gross keep making these movies. But it's like, hey,
do what you got to do.
Exactly. If Michael Gross is having fun,
I think he just has fun doing them.
Well, that's just it. If he's having fun making these movies and he's still getting paid and whatnot, and like I said to you before, when we first heard about this news, until there's some sort of like Family Ties reboot and whatnot, he's just going to keep making these movies.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I haven't seen the last one, A Cold Day in Hell. I haven't seen that.
So you saw at least the 5th one with Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, the one with Jamie Kennedy. I think Jamie Kennedy's only ever been good in Scream, which we've discussed before.
Yep.
So I'm not heartbroken that he's out of the series, at least for now. I like the casting, though.
You like John Heder?
I like having, Napoleon Dynamite. He'll probably be the comedic, like Michael Gross will be the main,
the militia.
Yep. Richard Brake will be the stoic, like the straight man, and then John Heder will probably be the comedic relief. Which, having those 3 together, I think you're going to have more of what was in Tremors 1.
Maybe.
We have very different type of characters in it. Can we just get a Kevin Bacon cameo, though?
Fred Ward.
And a Fred Ward. Like, Fred Ward at least was in the second one. Bacon did that unaired pilot.
And I still, it blows my mind that Bacon wanted to do that TV show and he couldn't, and nobody else was on board. Like, I don't get it. Especially Michael Gross. Like, what happened?
I think it's more, that may be an ego thing at that point. Where
this is my movie now.
It's going to be more about Bacon coming back than Michael Gross in another Tremors movie, I guess. I don't know. I think the series is just a ton of fun. Like, this is just, like, you can just sit and watch, turn your brain off and sit and watch some graboids, you know, eat up some people. And I think it's just a ton of fun. And having a 7th film with this cast, I mean, I'll watch it as soon as it goes on VOD. It's not getting a theatrical release.
Oh, no, not at all.
No. Yeah, I think, it's just going to be a ton of fun. I think setting it on an island, why not?
They've gone everywhere else, pretty much.
In the snow, they've gone to the Old West. Like, let's do it on an island. Why not? It makes no sense why it'll happen. It'll be like they traveled from wherever, I think Nevada is where the first film takes place. They traveled, I'm assuming, under the ocean to find Michael Gross on an island.
Under the sea.
Yeah. Can we get... Yeah. Oh, they need to go underwater and then to space.
I was going to say, when do they go to space?
Which series gets to space faster?
Tremors
or Fast and the Furious?
At this point right now, Tremors.
I don't know. Tremors might. I don't know. I would watch that, though. Tremors on the moon. That's what you call it, too.
When the hell did Michael Gross become an astronaut?
Why not? All right, so let's jump to our last piece of news, the one that is triggering everyone on the internet for the last week. James Dean is going to be digitally recreated for the lead character role in an upcoming film titled Finding Jack.
Was it one of the leads? I thought it was not necessarily the lead character.
From what it sounds like, from everything I've read, he is the lead. And the quotes that I have found is that they went through their casting and they could not find anyone else working today that could fit this character.
That's bullshit. This is a marketing ploy and should be... no, I'm sorry. This is a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
I've made reference before when this news first came out.
I'm going to look these guys at the filmography in a second.
So... when we found out about this legit actually kind of upsets me a bit about it, because it's like, so our actors that nowadays going to have to basically worry about losing parts out to dead people, you know, like, now it's not obviously the first time we've ever humanly recreated somebody on whatever, you know, so like for instance, like Cushing when they did Rogue One. Honestly, and that CGI was magnificent because it literally took me like half the movie for it to dawn on me that he's dead. And he's been dead for a while.
Not as long as James Dean, though, either.
No, you are correct. Now, for the sake of Rogue One and digitally recreating Cushing, made sense in the fact that he was an established character that you were essentially just trying to bridge. But this is something different. This is an unestablished film character, whether franchise or whatever this is going to be. No, you hire somebody who's living and breathing. It's just some guy wants to try to be able to make a movie that's going to, give him some of this edge, because guess what we're doing in the same time the CGI team that's creating him, whatever, is trying to make a name for themselves off of this and whatnot. Maybe it's the James Dean estate going, so we need to find a way to be able to use his likeness or something. Like I don't like this. This is wrong. There's just everything wrong about this.
This is just ridiculous. It makes one. It's, as you said, it's a marketing ploy. It's nothing more. There's no way I couldn't find another actor for this role.
Bullshit.
Go cast both of the Francos for all I care. They look like James Dean.
Right? Hell, cast them both in the same character, but don't make any modifications to their face, and people will notice. But
yeah, you can only get James for a couple days, bring in Dave, and then CGI both to look like James Dean or something.
Ooh, there you go. Like, mesh their faces together?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. This is stupid.
The Francos are James Dean.
This is stupid. This is just ridiculous. They did get an okay from the estate to have the likeness of James Dean used in the movie,
which is again where the part where I'm like,
Do they need some money?
They exactly. They gave the permission because they were given some sort of monetary value that they were like, well, shit, why not?
Yeah, at this point, like, yeah, he's been passed away for, I looked it up, 64 years.
Yeah.
Not many people know who James Dean is anymore, which is a different conversation. It has nothing really to do with this.
I think it does though,
because it's like. But like,
outside of
what,
people,
what demographic are you trying to get for this movie? If
that's what I'm saying. So I mean, like, you and I know who James Dean is. We're movie nerds. You know, we obviously even me being the oldest one in the room, the man was dead for over 20 years before I was even born. You know, and it's just people are gonna go and be like, he's a CGI character of who? Like. Yeah. They will literally put his name in the credits and nobody's going to know who the hell he is other than they're just going to, hey, look, it's Avatar Part 2.
Yeah, it's all a marketing thing. It's nothing for what they actually are trying to do with this movie. I looked up the two directors. They've only done shorts, which I'm not going to judge these two for what they've done in the past.
And you can, because shorts can be magnificent movies.
Yeah, and I don't know who these people are. It's not like it's not a studio movie either trying to do this. It's these people that either know the family, know the estate somehow, some way, or needed to pull a favor or something. That's what it seems like to me.
Right.
It all just seems really fishy because none of it lines up as to why they are doing this. Besides to these two people who have just made shorts are now making a feature movie. How are we going to get people to watch this movie? When thousands of movies are made every year, how are we going to get people to watch our first feature?
Yep.
Well, we're gonna bring James Dean back from the dead.
The only reason why I think you would bring James Dean back from the dead is if you made some sort of period piece that where it was made like it was in the 50s, you know, around, you know, when he was his success was coming up and whatnot. Where you would, but at that point you're talking about like a supporting character.
I think there's only one person that I think could get away with this, and people wouldn't bat an eye really.
Scorsese.
Well, Scorsese maybe, but Tarantino. I think if Tarantino set a movie in Hollywood in 1955, and had James Dean in it, and just had him CGI recreated to look exactly like him, I don't think people would bat an eye. I don't think he'd do it.
Oh, well, I definitely know he wouldn't do it because he's not a CGI kind of person. He's a very practical effects kind of individual. Because you figure if he was...
he could have done the same with Bruce Lee, I guess.
Exactly. That's where I was going to go with Bruce Lee. But otherwise, no. Like when they did Grindhouse with him and Rodriguez. Rodriguez is the super heavy CGI guy. He always has been. And Death Proof was 100% practical.
The only way I could see that is someone setting it in a period piece, or if Marvel's like, I want to make James Dean a superhero, then Scorsese would have a fit.
Oh my, okay. As much as I love the MCU and Marvel, I would have a fit because again, no, leave the man dead.
Let us know your thoughts on this. This is ridiculous. This is just
it's dumb.
It's like us. We're gonna take take voiceovers from Casey Kasem and stick it onto our podcast. It's the same thing.
Maybe.
We're not going to do it. All right, let's jump to our main topic for the week then. Get out of this James Dean news that is just ridiculous. It is TV shows adapted into movies.
Dun, dun, dun.
So yes, as we mentioned at the top, Charlie's Angels comes out this weekend. But in order to, I guess, build anticipation for it, we are going to be talking about our favorite, our underrated, and our guilty pleasure TV shows adapted into movies. Brian, do you have yours ready? Otherwise, I got mine ready.
Go for it.
All right. Let's start off with our favorites then.
Okay.
I think that's probably the best way to go about this because the rest are going to be weird for me.
So, your favorite's Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone. No. That is...
I was going to say, if I guessed that right, I was going to be hilarious.
No, I think there's only one franchise that's probably the favorite and best are different things, but I'll throw them into the same category for this. Mission Impossible Fallout.
I would just call that as a grouped whole.
Yeah,
even from the very first one.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about the franchise as a whole, but I think Fallout's the best. It is my favorite, which is why it's on this. But yeah, Mission Impossible Fallout is one of the best action movies of the last decade. Tom Cruise, like just does what, like, if you tell him, Tom, we're doing this stunt. All right, I'm in. Let's do it.
Oh, shit. Are you kidding me? It's not even that. Half the time, it's him coming up with the stunts. I want to fly a helicopter. You don't know how to fly. I'm going to learn.
I'll learn how.
I need to fly a helicopter.
Tom, we're going to hang you from a cliff. I already wanted to do that.
Yep.
Like,
Can you imagine what his agent and like his insurance company, like every time they're like, you're going to do a Mission Impossible, your rates just went up.
Brian, he has the power of Scientology behind him.
You're not wrong.
He's okay.
I know he's fine. I'm just saying, but he may be the top of the Scientology pyramid. However, the people that work for him are like, we still want a job tomorrow.
But besides that, I think that could all just be a gimmick. Is what crazy stunt is Tom Cruise going to do next? But on top of that,
will he break his ankle?
Mission Impossible is just a great franchise overall. Mm-hmm. I think where Bond is starting to deplete relatively fast from Casino Royale to, what was even the last one? I don't even remember.
Spectre
was okay. But Mission Impossible keeps going up. Keeps getting better. Like, it ups itself every time. And not only with the stunts, but I think with the spy aspect, I think...
Well, between the spy... I mean, and they legit put a lot of thought into the people that they're bringing into these movies.
Yeah, I mean, this is why we... Mission Impossible just... They
got Superman.
Well, they had Superman with a mustache.
No, trust me. It ruined Justice League.
I think...
oh, wait, no. Justice League ruined itself.
That was a different topic. Henry Cavill is great as the villain in that movie. The infamous chase scene where Tom Cruise breaks his ankle is just like really suspenseful, really tense. Like Tom Cruise running across rooftops and just Henry Cavill just strolling along on the street, pretty much. And their fights are fantastic between the two, well choreographed, and you can, unlike most action movies, like just cut every 5 seconds at least. This keeps it all in frame, and you can see exactly and know exactly what's going to happen. The bathroom fight between the two is stellar. I think it's one of the best action fights in a mainstream movie in the last decade. And yeah, I think the franchise as a whole is just a killer franchise. I think this is Tom Cruise's baby, of course.
It's always been his baby.
It has been, but we can even jump back to the first Mission Impossible, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Honestly, I'm not. I think it does, like, as soon as you get to, like, I even like 2 more than 1, and everybody hates 2.
I don't hate 2. The one thing I like about the very first 3 of them because when I know that when he went into the Mission Impossible and when he started, okay, I'm going to make a second one and keep going and whatnot, he wanted, Tom Cruise obviously this is his thing. This is his passion project. The show was episodic. And so I wanted to make the movies episodic in that I want a different director. I don't want the same guy, or at least originally. That you can tell De Palma versus Wu versus Abrams. It's not until we brought in Brad Bird that he changed his tune.
Yeah,
where he
3 very different movies, those first 3.
Yeah, and then when he brings in Brad Bird, who... The only thing Brad Bird was known for prior to that was Ratatouille and The Incredibles. He was only known for animated Pixar movies. So
now he's got his boy Christopher McQuarrie doing like everything for him, doing the next 2 Mission Impossibles, and
so yeah. But I mean, but Brad Bird came back and did 2 of them, and he's got McQuarrie doing 2 of them.
No, Brad Bird only did 1.
What then? Who did?
McQuarrie did Rogue Nation.
Before that,
Ghost Protocol.
Okay.
And then J.J. Abrams did 3.
6. So 6, 4,
Yes.
Hey, okay, I'm doing my math.
Yeah.
I'm talking now. Okay. My bad. You're right.
Yeah. I think the franchise as a whole, it's a solid franchise. It's the Americanized version of James Bond, which television series pretty much...
It's pretty much what it is.
Was, I guess. I never watched the TV series.
But going back to your, like De Palma's one is the weaker of the ones, if you want to even call it that. But I mean, if you look at what it was based off of for the show and whatnot, they straight up did a phenomenal job of bringing in basically going straight for the tech, going straight for what Mission Impossible was.
Yeah, I mean, it still has one of the most iconic scenes in the entire franchise. It's still in that one. Tom Cruise hovering from the ceiling in his all black stealth gear, you know.
And the fact that they basically turned the show on its ear by making the good guy the bad guy.
I guess. I don't know. I never watched the show. I didn't know. Is that a thing?
No. So the John Voight character in the movie from the first one is the character who was... Ethan Hunt is a made-up for this movie. So the character that John Voight plays is the main name for...
In the TV series?
In the series.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm pretty confident. You're making me second-guess myself.
I don't know. I believe you. Yeah, I think... like I said, the first one is not great... For me, but Mission Impossible 2 is a fun John Woo crazy action movie.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's a Woo movie.
3 and 4 is where it starts to get to be what.
Oh yeah, Mr. Phelps.
What stunt can Tom Cruise do next? Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it started in 2 with him hanging off the cliff,
right?
In the opening of the movie. But yeah, I think the franchise. I'm excited for the next 2. I think Tom Cruise always wants to one up himself, which for an audience member like us,
let's get Agent Carter.
Why not?
He's getting some of that. MCU blood in there too,
and I think
DC blood and MCU.
And I think having the same supporting cast is really strong throughout these movies. Simon Pegg and
Ving Rhames.
And then you add Michelle Monaghan.
Yes,
which is she in the last 2 as well? I think so. I'll double check.
I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my pick. I think it's probably the best. Yep, she was. That's probably the best adaptation that you could possibly do. Relatively, I mean, Mission Impossible, people, even in 1996, I'm assuming it's known for that theme song, and that might have been it. Mm-hmm. So having this franchise, this is what you think of when you think of Mission Impossible now. And I think that's a great way to adapt a television series, is you make it its own thing, keeping the core idea.
And the fact that you go in, you're like, you know what? It's the 90s. I'm Tom Cruise. I'm going to make Mission Impossible. I need to make an updated version of the most infamous, music of that Mission Impossible thing. So what do? You call in the big guns and you bring in half of U2.
Also, Rebecca Ferguson is great.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I'm still excited to see Dr. Sleep.
Because of Rebecca Ferguson?
Yeah. She's the villain.
I know.
Yeah.
The trailer told me so.
The trailer said so.
All
right. So should we move to yours?
By the way, I ended up, because I went to go see Dark Fate, I did end up seeing the last Star Wars trailer. I still don't know what I think. Anyway, just to kind of old school versus, well, I hope they never try to reboot this movie series again, because I don't think anybody will ever be able to do it, would be the Naked Gun movies. Because to go from Police Squad to, which the part that I like about this is the fact that it's your same guy. You're not actually recasting and whatnot, but your TV show became 3 very infamous and funny movies.
Naked Gun.
Let's ignore the fact that OJ is in them.
Well, he's fine in those movies, though. I think he's funny.
Well, yeah, he's definitely funny. Let's just
I mean, this series has even had an influence on us on how we name our episodes.
Right.
We've done the 2.5, the 33 1/3. Yeah, I love this series so much.
It's such a fun series.
Yeah, I never watched the Police Squad show. Is that the same slapstick type?
I don't know.
Or is it a straightforward police movie or show? I'll look it up here.
I don't remember, to be honest. But, considering it's Leslie Nielsen, you would imagine it's probably got a little bit of funniness to it.
Well, before Naked Gun and Airplane, he was a straightforward actor, though.
I suppose that's true.
That's why he's so funny in these movies. It was a comedy series, okay? That shows you how much I know about the TV series. So, yeah, Leslie Nielsen is just killer in this movie. I need to go watch these movies again. I haven't seen them in a couple.
It's been a long
5, 6, 7 years. I think these movies, all 3 are still hilarious from what I remember of them. The supporting cast is great. Leslie Nielsen is just he's the best in these movies.
Oh, I mean, he was, like you said, between these movies, Airplane and whatnot, and even other things that he did after the fact, it's just Leslie Nielsen was just an absolute comedic genius. He's one of those ones where it's like, I really wish he was still around today.
Yeah, I think this kind of breaks our core idea, though.
What?
Because this is a continuation of that series.
Damn it!
Yeah, come on.
Well,
it's Naked Gun.
I quantify it, so I don't care what the internet says.
Well, Leslie Nielsen is playing the exact same character in the TV series as he is in the movie.
Yeah. So,
Detective Frank Drebin. Yeah. So Naked Gun.
So why can't the same person play the movies that he played in the TV show?
Because we're talking adaptations, not continuations.
Yeah. Well. So I broke the first rule.
You broke the first rule.
You know what? I don't care what you'll think. If I didn't bring up Naked Gun, I would have felt wrong.
Well, there's some other ones we're not going to bring up, though.
But it's Naked Gun.
It is Naked Gun. I think it's a great series. Yeah, like I said, I need to go do a rewatch of this. And can we talk about the Reggie Jackson character?
I don't remember the Reggie Jackson character.
You don't? He's in the... I believe it's the first one. It has to be the first one, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, because he's from what I remember, at the end of the movie, they were at a baseball game, and Reggie Jackson is, I believe, a robot in the movie, and he's trying to assassinate, like, the Queen, I think. I think it's the Queen.
Because, why would the Queen be at a baseball game?
In Los Angeles, yes. Yeah, I think Reggie Jackson, that's what it was. And then I just remember the Leslie Nielsen is the umpire in it, and... Yeah, I need to rewatch these because I remember very little, but I remember laughing hysterically at them. So, yeah, Naked Gun. It's a cheat, but we'll let it slide.
Good,
because it's great.
Because it's the Naked Gun movies. It's Leslie Nielsen. It is, yes.
All right. Do you have an underrated one? Way to come prepared, Brian.
Oh no! I have one. I just don't know one that would be considered underrated.
What is it?
21 Jump Street.
No, I wouldn't say it's underrated, but we'll talk about it.
Just because it took a whole different approach to what the movies were, or the show was. The show was a very serious crime drama, and this is like, we're gonna turn it into a
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
We're going to turn it into slapstick comedy.
Yes. I think both of these movies are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The chemistry between Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill is great.
It still is. It's like no matter what you see them together or whatnot, or just you can look at those two and know that it's genuine friendship. Like they just genuinely have, great chemistry.
Yeah, the backing of Phil Lord and Chris Miller behind both of these movies, I think, is just stellar. This is why I was excited for Solo until that happened. But yeah, the chemistry between these two, I think, is what really sets it all together. Ice Cube as the police detective.
Oh, I know,
great.
Right?
I think having him into that foil is just another aspect to it. Yeah, I think both of these movies are great. Dave Franco is really funny.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
I
made you these friendship bracelets.
The fact that you bring up Ice Cube, the one thing even to this day, I just find absolutely amusing, with both Ice Cube and Ice-T, are both old school rappers from way back in the day who had plenty of music where basically they were saying, fuck the police. Hell, Cube was in a song with that same name. And yet they've played so many cops and or detectives in TV and movies.
Ice-T's entire career was playing a cop.
Yeah, and yet he's got a song called "Cop Killer" when he did Body Count.
Yeah.
I find the amusement in that. But no, you're right. I mean, just the off-color, no pun intended, humor that Ice Cube brings to this is just perfect.
I think my favorite scene from both movies is in the second one, where it's when Channing Tatum finally realizes that the girl that Jonah Hill is dating is Ice Cube's daughter.
Yeah.
And it takes him forever to figure out. He's just staring at the picture. All of a sudden there's a clock ticking, tick, 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 ding, and he just freaks out. Thinks it's the funniest thing ever.
Yes.
That is my favorite scene from these. And then, of course, the after credits of 22 Jump Street are perfect.
And I love the fact that they've gone in between both of the movies, brought in multiple people from the TV show to have a little bit in it, which obviously the whole like reveal of Johnny Depp from the first one and whatnot, but to have like even Richard Grieco as the in the spoof sequels at the end of the second one was just, for me, the little cherry on the top.
And I love them switching out Jonah Hill for Seth Rogen for one movie, and then he comes back.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want to see those movies though.
I would be curious to see if they would ever go back to that franchise and do a 23 Jump Street.
Remember for the longest time they were trying to.
No, I tried to forget that, Casey. I try to forget that, Casey.
Men in Black, 21 Jump Street
crossover.
I'm all in for that.
No.
I've shown I don't like I just don't connect with the Men in Black franchise. It's not for me. And then Men in Black International didn't do very well. Let's go back to it. Let's do it.
No.
Yeah. That movie would make I think that would make some serious money. Having those two with that chemistry in a Mission Impossible movie.
You mean Men in Black movie?
A Men in Black or a Mission. They can be in a Mission Impossible movie too. Men in Black movie.
Oh my God, no! To have them in a movie with Tom Cruise.
Oh no!
Jonah Hill would lose like another 100 pounds.
Probably end up looking like Tom Cruise. All right, 22 Jump Street.
I want to see that now.
All right, my underrated.
You're underrated.
The reason I wanted to do this, honestly.
Okay.
Because I legitimately think it is very underrated.
What?
The Brady Bunch movie.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, I legitimately think the Brady Bunch movie. Oh, not that one. That one.
You're hurting my head. The one thing I will give it is that Dad Brady is played by Gary Cole. Like, the overall, like, casting between the new versus the old versus the who's playing who kind of thing, they did a very good job on casting people who had a very similar look to the original actors and actresses.
I think, that is the best part of it. Gary Cole, who plays Greg Brady, Shelley Long, Carol Brady, Christine Taylor, Marcia, and Christopher Barnes, who plays Greg Brady. I think the two older siblings are kind of the main leads in both of these,
right? As
far as the kids go. But yeah, I think this is legitimately a perfect adaptation of the television series, because you can't do Brady Bunch the way it was done in the 70s.
No.
Because it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It has a very cheesy quality. It's very much of its time. You can't recreate that in any way, shape, or form. But
you can try.
They do, but it's legitimately set in the 90s.
Right.
And I think that is the best thing about it, is that the 90s was everything that the Brady Bunch is not.
Right. Because if I have to remove the dust a little bit off the top of my head here for this movie and whatnot, but if memory serves me correctly, they live life like it's the 70s and open up the door, it's the 90s.
Yeah, they are legitimately the Brady Bunch from the 1970s.
Right.
The same family, the same house, the same style of clothes, same music, everything. But it's in the 90s. And I think that is just, I think that's so funny. I think it's a perfect commentary on both the Brady Bunch series and the 90s itself. Like, in a way, it's a meta movie because it's talking about things in the 90s in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, this casting is perfect. I think just the little sayings that Gary Cole has as Mike Brady I find hilarious. All right, kids, we're going to Sears. Yay!
Yes, let's all go to Sears.
Sears. And then I do want to talk about the sequel because I legitimately like the sequel just as much as the first one.
And the fact that, they call it a very Brady sequel.
A very Brady sequel.
Yes.
Yes. I think the addition of Tim Matheson as the ex-husband of of Carol Brady, or the would-be ex-husband, because that's something they never mentioned in that original TV show, is that, where did the mom and dad of these kids go?
We don't care.
In the 70s, you didn't care. I at least like that this kind of brings it back, and where she's even kind of oblivious. Well, you don't even look like my husband. Well, I had plastic surgery. well, okay, and then like she just goes along with it. And I think a big part of the Brady Bunch was, and one of the most famous things is the them going to Hawaii is one of the most famous like episodes in the series. And now them doing it, I think, is hilarious. And the reason that they are going is because her fake ex-husband literally kidnaps her with a gun, and that's why they're going to Hawaii.
Wow, it has been a while since I've watched this movie. I don't remember any of that.
I find this movie hilarious as well. It introduces George Glass to the the series, which is infamous for Brady Bunch fans as not Marshall. What's the other one? Jan's fake boyfriend.
He
George
shows
Glass.
up in the sequel?
He's in this movie. When they go to Hawaii, she literally meets a boy her age, and his name is George Glass.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
And they fall for each other. Yeah, I think this is it's just a great movie, and the fact that they do introduce like the musical stuff into both of these movies, I think really works well, because there's a part all of a sudden when they're flying to Hawaii where they start singing like good time music on the airplane and go into a whole like dance number and everything, and finally one of the stewardess gets on the intercom and would the people singing and dancing in the aisles please sit down and shut up?
I was going to say,
everybody claps.
If I remember correctly, it was yes.
So if you haven't watched the two Brady Bunch movies from 95, 96, or maybe never heard of them, I guess. I mean, they're kind of a lost thing now that you still think of the series first and foremost. So I would say if you haven't watched those, I'd give them a watch, even if you know the little bits of about the Brady Bunch. They're still funny.
Or just know that Lumbergh plays, Dad Brady.
Yeah, he is legitimately funny in these movies. Like, he's so funny.
Gary Cole is just funny.
He is a hilarious actor in general. I don't think gets enough credit for that, but just the deadpan way he plays
everything.
Everything, but it works perfectly.
That's what I like about Gary Cole in this specific role, is that his type of humor plays very well to Dad Brady.
All right, kids, we're going to Hawaii.
Okay, let's go.
All right, Brian, we are going to go to our now guilty pleasures. The guiltiest of this kind of would be a guilty pleasure to some people, but I legitimately think these are underrated comedies.
All of them?
The Brady Bunch movies.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're underrated more than guilty pleasure.
Well, then I guess you don't have to worry about your last one then, huh?
I do have a guilty pleasure, though. And I think this is it's the guiltiest of pleasures.
What's that?
The Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh, my God. I before I even say anything, is that when you look at the live adaptation of those movies, because I assume that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they have never done movies before. But is that when they did cast for this movie, number one, I knew who everybody was. But no, I legit think
it was a who's who of early 2000s, late 90s actors.
But with the exception of one, I don't think Linda Cardellini had come into her real much yet outside of Freaks and Geeks. I knew her from Dead Man on Campus. But no, you're right. Matthew Lillard, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, I mean, it was very well cast for what they wanted to do, for when they were making these movies. You're right. I mean, you figure late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. I legitimately like the first Scooby-Doo movie. I think the CGI does not hold up in the slightest for Scooby-Doo or the monsters, obviously, but I think the cast does give it their all.
Yes.
I think they actually...
I think they legit had fun making these movies, and they weren't just phoning it in just because it was Scooby-Doo. I mean, look at Matthew Lillard. He basically helped, define his career up until most recently when he got all mad at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Which...
I mean,
he legit has reason to be mad, I honestly believe.
In every TV show or movie film adaptation since this, besides two like straight to TV live action movies, he's played Shaggy since.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he is the best part of the two Scooby-Doo movies he's in. I think he gives it his all, even acting against, a couple of tennis balls on a stick.
Right.
But yeah, even Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar are fun as Fred and Daphne. They finally fully form that. Yeah, heck yeah, Fred and Daphne are a thing.
Right.
Like that's always something. Like even watching Scooby Doo movies in like the 90s when I was watching them, you're always like, yeah, Fred and Daphne are probably a thing.
Oh, definitely.
Boyfriend
And the fact that, you know, you had real life boyfriend, girlfriend, because I don't even think they were even engaged back then, to kind of have, you know, you can obviously see that chemistry. You can see the buddy chemistry of knowing that Matthew Lillard and Freddie Prinze Jr. are, you know, really close friends and whatnot. And for kind of being the odd woman out, if you will, Linda Cardellini still does a very good Velma.
Yeah, she's really good as Velma. And I think some of the things like that even like some of the meta stuff that works in this movie, like pretty much calling out that Shaggy and Scooby are stoners.
Oh, right.
Like throughout the movie,
like you had to.
Yeah, and I mean it's for a little bit older audience than you would the regular Scooby Doo TV series. So yeah, calling out like they probably smoke pot. You know, Shaggy's favorite name is Mary Jane. Duh.
Right.
Yeah. And the best part of it is it's pretty much an adaptation of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, which is, I think, the best Scooby-Doo anything ever. So I think that having pretty much a live-action adaptation of that is pretty cool. Yeah, it's not a great movie, like in the slightest. It's not great. It's pretty paint by numbers, and the CGI doesn't really hold up at all. It wasn't great back then either, but
it was also, considering when it was made, I mean, honestly, I think for the sake of what they were doing for Scooby-Doo, for when it was being made, and the fact that you didn't want to make him quite a perfect Great Dane.
And you didn't want to just have a Great Dane there and then make his mouth move really cheesy.
Exactly. Yeah. I think they did a pretty good job, honestly.
I think it's also cool that Scrappy-Doo is the villain.
Oh my god.
Which people give Scrappy-Doo too much crap. I think he's okay. But having a relatively like hated character come back like in a villainous role, I think is kind of funny.
Well, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. Scooby-Doo from 2002.
God, I forgot Isla Fisher was in this.
Yeah, she plays Mary Jane.
I know. I'm looking at this going.
Rowan Atkinson is fun in this movie too. I think
this might have been the first thing when I was learning who Rowan Atkinson was and everything like that. This might have been between either this or Johnny English when I actually figured out that Mr. Bean could talk. Because You
didn't watch Rat Race before this?
I don't think this was before Rat Race.
I don't remember, but I like Rat Race.
Oh no, Rat Race is a phenomenal movie. No, maybe that's when we do ensemble cast movies.
Let's just do Rat Race. 2001.
Damn it.
So that was his role right before Scooby-Doo.
So then I would have heard him as speaking then. But, some of these movies or whatever, all you see is Mr. Bean. All of a sudden you're like, holy shit, Mr. Bean can talk.
Yeah, so Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Brian, what do you got for a guilty pleasure TV adapted into movies?
I'm going to have to go with the A-Team.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Exactly. It's the A-Team. I mean, in terms of the overall casting and the typecasting of the particular characters, I think it was very well done. I kind of wish that they would have been able to continue this and make another one. The guy, obviously the hardest one for them to try to capture was Mr. T's character. But I think Rampage Jackson does a phenomenal job of doing that. Having Bradley Cooper be the face, Liam Neeson as Hannibal, and Charlotte Copley as Murdoch. He was fantastic. I mean, if you're gonna have any weird, crazy dude be Murdoch, Copley was definitely the way to go with it. You never saw this, did you?
I didn't watch it. No.
I actually really enjoy it, and frankly, it's got a better rating on IMDb than your Brady movie does.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. More people need to go watch the Brady Bunch.
No, I mean they poke fun at what the TV show was versus what they were and whatnot. But at the same time, too, they made a relatively good action, movie. They were playing into the stereotypes. They weren't trying to reinvent the A-Team. They basically were just, readapting into film. Like I said, I mean, Mr. T's would have been the hardest thing for someone to try to encapsulate, but I think Rampage did a decent job.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. I'm like, I don't know who else you would have play not Rampage. Have to play Mr. T.
Barracus?
I don't know.
Well, exactly. I mean, that would be like if you're gonna do the A-Team. Yeah, how do you do it? So yeah.
I mean, looking at I've seen bits and pieces. I remember when the trailers were all coming out. Everybody's like, "Yeah, A-Team." Like Brad, the guy from The Hangover, is in this movie, and Liam Neeson and Rampage Jackson is Mr. T. And I don't know. I never watched the A-Team growing up. That was before. I mean, I'd watched the Brady Bunch, I guess, but I never watched the A-Team. Yeah, that's a different thing. But yeah, it just never intrigued me to go watch this. I mean, looking at it now, yeah, we're not ever get a sequel to this.
I know, it kind of makes me... The only way we're getting a sequel to this is if essentially it gets rebooted.
Yeah, or if Bradley Cooper's career starts tanking really fast and needs to make some money.
Pretty sure that's not happening.
No, it's not going to happen. I think you could get the other three. I don't think you're going to get Bradley Cooper anymore.
The minute Bradley Cooper's acting career starts tanking, he gets behind the camera, starts directing full time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make another movie like A Star Is Born and get another Oscar nomination.
The A-Team too, maybe. Yeah, I don't have any connection to it, so yeah,
you're wrong.
I just never.
It's funny.
Never was my thing.
You're probably going like, I'm gonna watch this. Oh my god, it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it.
And I'll probably never watch it.
Why not?
I don't know.
Give it a watch.
I don't know.
I'm gonna see if it can find a place for you to watch it.
I'm curious though. What are some TV shows you want to see adapted into a movie?
Well, you don't have HBO. I can tell you. Well, I have
not a continuation, an adaptation.
I know at least what I was gonna say is I know at least one that I would say not to do. What do you think, Casey?
I don't even know. I was just throwing it out there.
You wouldn't want a medical drama or anything like that because, well, that would just be boring.
You don't want to see the Grey's Anatomy TV.
That's exactly what I was like. 13 seasons later, we don't need a movie. Yeah.
I've been watching that. Kayla's been watching that show, and I've been watching it. It's okay.
You haven't watched enough of it.
No, I have. She's only like 3 or 4 seasons in. You
haven't got enough McDreamy.
Well, he is pretty dreamy in it.
Ooh, a comedy of How I Met Your Mother.
Redo the ending properly.
Sum up 9 seasons into 2.5 hours. 2 hours.
Yeah.
What else could we try to do? Now, are we talking old school TV, new school TV?
I would say any TV. What I would like to see, I would like to see them do something more like in the vein of what the Brady Bunch did. Like take those old like 60s, 70s. I mean, Leave It to Beaver got one. Bewitched got an adaptation, but they pretty much were just setting the idea, the core values of the TV show into the time frame in which they were made. Well, they weren't literally taking the characters and moving them into a different decade.
No, and look at Bewitched. Bewitched was just bad.
Well, I never watched it.
Trust me. As for someone who has seen it and saw it in the theater, you're not missing anything.
You watched a Will Ferrell movie in the theater?
I've seen a couple of them in the theater, but this was definitely one of my ones that made me realize that Will Ferrell movies I have to take with a certain grain of salt and not necessarily watch all of them.
I got mine.
What?
Gilligan's Island.
No.
Yes.
No.
Gilligan's Island.
What are they going to do? Break the GPS?
No.
Or make it a period piece?
I would make it that they have literally been stuck on that island since the 70s. And they just don't age.
They did do not necessarily the aging part of it, but when they made the Gilligan's Island movie for TV, they referenced the fact that they'd been on that for that long and whatnot. So that movie's already been made.
Well, is that the same cast?
Yes.
Oh, I'm talking different cast.
Yeah, well, no.
Yep.
You leave my Gilligan's Island alone.
They didn't leave the Brady Bunch alone. Do Gilligan's Island. TV, in the same vein as the Brady Bunch.
TV shows made into movies that have been made that should have never been made.
A lot of them.
Come on, give me.
Bewitched.
Oh my god. And even the premise of that one was stupid. It was that they were remaking... The movie, if I remember correctly, was that they were remaking the show. Yeah, it's just bad. The Smurfs should have never been made into a movie.
Yeah, Smurfs, Alvin and the Chipmunks, that stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Some of those ones were just like...
All of them.
What? Like Neil Patrick Harris, why did you say yes to the Smurfs? Was it because your kids needed something they could watch you in?
I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
He didn't want the kids watching How I Met Your Mother or Harold and Kumar.
Dad, what's a blunt?
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look up some of these, but...
You should have been thinking about this.
Well,
Josie and the Pussycats?
I was thinking of the good ones, yeah. There's a bad one. The, what's that? The girl singing one. Shoot, what was it called?
Josie and the Pussycats?
No. The newer one that bombed.
Oh, Gem.
Gem and the Holograms.
That was, as someone who watched that cartoon as a child, no. I still hope that they make Mask. I hope Mask definitely gets made, and I hope they pay very well to what the original was, because, yeah.
We'll do another episode on TV shows, like, continued into movies, I think, at some point.
Maybe.
Because I think I have some ideas of where I would want some other TV shows. I mean, Community still needs its movie.
Does it now, though?
Yeah, 6 seasons in a movie, Brian.
Meh.
That's its gimmick.
Oh, is that what it is?
The series literally ends with 6 seasons. At the end, there's just white text, it just says "and a movie."
Oh,
because that was their whole thing for a while. 6 seasons in a movie. So that would be my pick for that. But yeah, that's a topic for a different day. Let us know what some of your favorite TV shows adapted into movies. Do you guys think the Brady Bunch 2 movies are underrated like I do? Probably not. Probably not.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Watch it for Gary Cole, Christina Taylor, Shelley Long. Like, watch it for...
I also didn't mention I like the fact that they bring up that Marsha and Greg, like...
have a thing.
Have a thing. I'm like, yeah, that's probably what would actually happen.
Probably.
Yeah. They're not related. If they're going to share a bedroom, yes, weird things are going to happen.
We didn't talk about that during the 70s.
Too taboo back then. All right, that has been the episode. Let us know what some of your picks for favorite, underrated, and guilty pleasure TV shows are. Let's jump to our plugs. We got to plug some of the stuff that we got going on here on Backlot 605. Plugging our film community meetups. We have a meetup just in a couple weeks. November 20th at Severance Brewing, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. We'll be talking some movies. We want to ask some questions. We're going to bring up some hot topic debates.
We are.
I don't know. I'll probably ask people if they think the Brady Bunch movies are underrated.
What do you think?
Guys, I have this burning question I know we all have been thinking. Why is nobody talking about the Brady Bunch movies anymore? So yeah, November 20th, the Sioux Falls Film Community Meetup at Severance Brewing, 8 p.m. You can also check out our live show. We're going to be plugging this probably every single week. Until then, you're just going to have to get used to it, I think. Live show. We're going to be doing a live show. As we mentioned, we did a whole announcement video and all that. But we are finally up on the Facebook page and Facebook event page for that. Our live show, January 26, 2020 at Last Stop Studios. We're going to be counting down the top 20 movies of the decade. We talked about some of the decade. We talked about some movies that came out this decade. Will A-Team make the top 20 list? Who knows? Be there to find out.
Was it made this decade?
2010.
Ooh, good to know.
Yeah. Ooh. So yeah, we are going to be having myself, Brian, our friend Andy the Fat Dude, Corey Jacobson, and Blake Ginnathan. We'll be on that episode. We'll be doing it live January 26th from 3 to 5 p.m. at Last Stop Studios. Tickets are free. We just want to see you there. You can check out the latest episode of the Killer Countdown, where we count down horror comedies. That is up on the website and podcast feeds right now. Check out our friends, Andy, the Fat Dude, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Corey Jacobson at Somewhat Random Movie Collection on Instagram. Also, check out our website, backlot605.com. You can find all our latest movie news, reviews, discussions, everything like that on the website. Also, check out our TeePublic store. We have some cool t-shirts and stickers. We finally put up a killer countdown design to the site.
We did?
Yeah. It looks pretty cool, I think. I need to get myself a t-shirt and some stickers for that. So check out our TeePublic store. You can also check out this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay up to date on everything that we're doing there.
Yeah.
And that's it. That has been the show.
I like to make you talk a lot.
I know. So what are we doing next week, though, Brian?
What are we doing next week?
We're going to talk about a little actor by the name of Tom Hanks.
Why would we talk about America's Dad?
He is America's dad.
That's what I said. Why are we talking about America's Dad?
Why are we talking about him? Because he's got a new movie coming out.
Now you understand the why, the fact I'm like, asking you a question here.
Kevin Costner's America's dad.
No.
But
Tom
he's like
Hanks.
the mean dad.
No. Kevin Costner is America's Dad.
You just said that. You just agreed with me.
Tom Hanks. God damn it.
Got him.
God damn it.
They're both our dads, okay?
Tom Hanks.
Both.
Not Kevin Costner.
So yeah, we're going to be talking Tom Hanks movies. We're going to be doing that in honor of the Mr. Rogers movie coming out.
Which, from what I understand, is amazing and probably will garner him at least an Oscar nomination.
It's going to be Mr. Rogers versus the Joker at the Oscars.
Ooh.
Isn't that scary?
Oh my God.
You know it's true, too.
Oh my God, it's so true.
And then Christian Bale sneaks in for Ford versus Ferrari.
Okay, so when I went to go see Dark Fate, they had a trailer for that. I'm legit wanting to see that more and more because it just looks really good.
It's getting really good reviews.
So, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to digress.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Tom Hanks movies because A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood comes out.
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
This was a fun episode. I'm glad I finally got to show my love for the Brady Bunch movie.
Not everybody can say that.
No, not everyone. So until next time, thank you all once again for listening. If you're listening, drop a comment and let us know some of your favorite TV shows adapted into movies.
Yeah.
All right, Brian.
I gotta get that 90s. Yeah.
We have to get the 90s because we talked a lot of 90s today. So
Uh-huh.
Thank you all once again for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Backlot of South Dakota.
Bye.